China says military company worker exposed as CIA spy. China's civilian spy agency has accused the Chinese national of spying for the CIA. CNN. China's civilian spy agency has exposed the Chinese national for allegedly providing sensitive military information to the CIA, the latest in a string of highly public espionage accusations between Washington and Beijing. In a statement Friday, China's Ministry of State Security said the suspect, identified by his surname Zhou, worked for the unidentified Chinese military industrial group in a role which gave him access to important classified information. The ministry said Zhang, 52, was sent by his employer to advance his studies in Italy. While there, he was allegedly approached by the U.S. embassy officer, and they gradually developed a close relationship through activities such as dinner parties, outings, and watching operas, according to the statement. The ministry claimed that as their engagement deepened, the U.S. official revealed himself to be a CIA officer. John was allegedly offered the huge amount of money and immigration to the U.S. for his family in exchange for sensitive information about the Chinese military, the statement said. It said John signed an espionage agreement with the U.S. and received assessment as well as training. Upon completing his studies, John returned to China and allegedly met with CIA personnel multiple times to provide a large amount of core intelligence, according to the statement. The ministry said it had taken compulsory measures against Zhang after obtaining evidence of his espionage activities in an investigation. The case has been handed to the prosecutors for review and indictment, it added. China's announcement about the alleged CIA spy came a week after two U.S. Navy sailors in California were arrested for allegedly providing sensitive U.S. military information to Chinese intelligence officers. China's Ministry of State Security is a civilian agency that oversees intelligence and counterintelligence, both within China and overseas. Its remit has encouraged the analogy to the combined CIA and the FBI, but is far more secretive about its work, without even a public website describing its activities. But recently, the ministry has taken a higher profile. On August 1st, it launched a public account on WeChat, China's super app, calling on all members of society to join its fight against espionage and offering rewards and protection for those who provide information. Friday's statement about Zhang's case was also released on the ministry's WeChat account. China's military also has its own intelligence agency. The United States and China have long spied on each other, but the recent deterioration in ties between the world's two largest economies has supercharged this rivalry. China, China's Communist Party rulers have long pushed the narrative that foreign policies are trying to undermine the country's rise while Xi Jinping, China's most assertive and authoritarian leader in a generation, has made state security his top priority. Last month, China introduced the revised version of its already sweeping counter-espionage law, which further expanded the definition of espionage. CIA operations in China suffered the staggering setback starting in 2010, according to the New York Times, when the Chinese government killed or imprisoned more than a dozen sources over 2 years. In 2021, CNN reported that the agency was overhauling how it trains and manages each network of spies as part of the broad transition to focus more closely on adver- adversaries like China and Russia.